Hey everybody, welcome back from a short summer break on the channel. We're going to be making a lot more Logic Pro content coming up through the end of the summer and into the fall. Although I did just wake up today and notice that Logic Pro has been updated to 11.2.2. And so I'll go over just those updates today, what they've fixed. This is just a stability and reliability upgrade. And so we'll go over each of those things. I did not make a video when 11.2.1 came out about 2 weeks ago. And we'll talk just slightly about that as well, because there was an update with the Nektar and how the CS12 works with Logic, which is great. Great news. It just seems like we're getting a lot of care and attention from everyone surrounding Logic right now. And I hope that this continues. I hope that this is a trend where they're going to be doing more frequent updates. I know that that's a lot to ask for a company like Apple, not because they're not capable of it, but they have a lot of things going on, a lot of irons in the fire, so to speak. So 11.2.2, 2 weeks after the previous update of 11.2.1, and we don't have a ton of things in here, but there are some things which looks like, if they're an issue for some of you, might be an issue for a lot of you. And so I'm guessing that's partially why that they've released this, to fix some, really severe bugs. I'd like to know in the comments if you've been facing any of these. Since 11.2.1 came out, I hadn't updated. That's because I was in Europe with a study abroad with my students from the university. I used Logic a few times, but I just used the stable version that I was on and didn't upgrade to anything. And so I missed everything from 11.2.1 to 11.2.2. It's the first time I've ever missed a full update. More on that at a different time. Okay, so we have these stability and reliability issues. The first one resolves an issue where Logic Pro might unexpectedly quit. And that's where we're gonna see that in a number of these. It could just quit when you open the surround panel on a track where the first plugin slot is empty. That was probably a surprise to people, although I don't usually leave my first slot empty. I do have some sort of OCD characteristics where I put the first one in the first slot all the time. I know that if you have empty ones later and you want to put all your EQs in the same one and all your compressors in the same one, there's reasons for that, but I typically don't. Resolves an issue where text and chords in the score could be missing when you open a save project. That was probably a surprise to a few of you. Fixes an issue where Logic Pro could quit unexpectedly after undoing the creation of a folder, or a fader, improves the compatibility with projects created in previous versions of Logic. I like that. I wish I could have tested that one out a little bit. I guess I could always test it out with previous versions, but that's nice. And then resolves an issue where setting an environment fader object to text style in the inspector could cause Logic to quit unexpectedly. This, to me, by the way, that fifth one is one of the most important ones, I think, of this whole thing. It means we're still getting some updates for the environment. They're still working on the environment. That means people are still using the environment. And that's, I think, really good news, because if the writing on the wall is to be believed, and we are eventually going to have a unified version between the iPad and the Mac version, then there's not a lot of room for the environment, but I like that they're still working on it for now. Then we had some things for plugins. Recently installed audio unit plugins are available in Logic Pro as expected. I would love to see this work 100% of the time, because I have issues with that more than anything. Installing new plugins often just don't show up. Then you have to restart it, rescan it, figure it out, restart your computer, pull your hair out, and then just randomly shows up. Cool. Audio unit plugins that were disabled in the audio unit plugin manager now appear there as expected after a full audio unit reset has been performed. Another thing that I've definitely run into in the past. I don't know where that is broken, if it was broken in just the most recent version that they're fixing, or if it's something more overarching that's been broken. I don't know, but I've definitely had issues with that. 2 things for control surfaces and MIDI controllers. The Learn controller assignments for insert bypass are now reliably assigned to the correct plugin insert. Awesome. And then learning a new assignment for a control now replaces an existing assignment rather than causing it to trigger both. Awesome. And then automation bypass state is now shown in the correct automation lane of software instrument tracks. Okay, cool. That's it. Small, right? Not a lot of things. However, what we're really looking at is hopefully a new trend of getting these updates on a more regular basis, which would do a lot for people. A lot for our mental stability and using Logic, feeling like, okay, they're updating, they're fixing things, instead of waiting and waiting and waiting. So the 11.2.1 had more. I'm guessing twice or three times as much, so it's not tons. The biggest thing that I wanted to talk about was the fixes with the Nektar. They're actually listed by name. The Nektar CS12 control service now displays labels and learn controller assignments. Meaning all the stuff that wasn't working is now working. We also got, by the way, probably, 5 or 6 days ago, a new update from Nektar. And I'll be doing a whole video on this next week, just like a state of the union, so to speak, of how the CS12 is working in my workflow, what I still like about it, what I thought I might like but didn't, etc., how I'm using it. This is a great tool, but it's now back to full functionality with Logic. Between their update and Logic's update, it's working. Great. So we got a number of other small things as well with the 11.2.1. That's always common after a new 11.x model to come out, a new release, that we get an update to fix the things that maybe they didn't realize were broken. And so that was their chance to do a number of quick fixes to get it from crashing and to fix some other things that were inadvertently changed, or, just whatever else happens when you do a new, bigger version. And so a number of things here were also changing. If you haven't looked through that full list, I do recommend it just to see if there's anything that was affecting you personally in your workflow. But that brings me to the whole thing. Which things have been working for you? Which things are broken? Do any of you have any things that right this moment that are crashing Logic for you? As a side interesting story, I was in the Czech Republic in Prague with students, and we do a bunch of studio experiences. And I was working with an engineer who's he's like a student in Prague. And we were talking about the newest versions of Logic, and he says, are they ever going to fix the ARA? To which I said, probably not. I mean, they don't seem really interested in fixing that and making it work. I don't personally know all the details of why, of what that would take, what it is about the new universal version and ARA that just don't like each other. But everyone across the world is asking that question and wondering and wanting to know if it's ever going to work with it. It's hard to say. It's hard to say if that's just a thing that is never going to be changed, if it's a workflow thing. I would love for any of you who understand the coding part of it to tell us why that they may be so resistant to it. What is it about this universal version? Because it works with the Rosetta, supposedly, but it's not working with the full universal version. Okay, that's it for this video. Just looking at these updates, the new update trend of getting some quicker updates, hoping that it will continue on. I'm not expecting another version in 2 weeks, but might be nice once a month to get something. Let me know again in the comments which of these things affected you and that you're happy that they're changed, or maybe none of them are. And let me know the current state of which things in Logic you are still experiencing, which you wish that they would fix. That's it. Talk to you later.